Not a bad spot we're in here, Paul. One of your favourites?
It certainly is one of my favourites, Paul. I mean, this is one of the great sporting stadia of the world. And this forecourt here, admittedly in the members area, is a phenomenal place to be, particularly on Grand Final Day and the first day of the Boxing Day Test. It absolutely buzzes with excitement from almost the time the sun comes up.
Yep.
And just to move around in that area and see the excitement of the people who are going in to see their heroes and, look at the hallowed turf, it gives you a bit of a tingle up the spine.
Take us through the dates. 175 years. That's the anniversary of the MCC.
Yes, the cricket club and the cricket ground are two totally separate entities. The cricket ground is owned by the government. We manage it on their behalf.
Yep.
So we're a private club with public responsibility, as one of my predecessors put it.
Yep. 1838. Wasn't much in Melbourne at that stage.
Not a hell of a lot in Melbourne, no. A lot of Victoria's great institutions began about 150 to 160 years ago, but this club began, 15, 20 years prior to that, and it's never had any hiatus in that 175 years. Although I doubt that the five men who founded the club could have imagined that it now has a membership in excess of 100,000 and a waiting list of over 220,000.
I know this is one of your favourite spots, so let's go to have a look at your next favourite spot. Maybe your first favourite.
We will go and have a little look somewhere else in this ground.
Lovely. So the committee room, of course, is what we're talking about. And we're greeted by this magnificent painting before we have a look at the rest of it.
It's a fabulous remembrance of one of the great partnerships in Australian cricket between the wonderful Sir Donald Bradman, but also a man who was almost as good as Bradman, Bill Ponsford. In fact, he was the only one to make 2 quadruple centuries in first-class cricket. Even Bradman couldn't do that.
And this is sort of the home of some great memorabilia and photos, so let's go and have a look. Paul, so many great pictures, we can't go through them all, but you would like to point out that one, a non-sporting occasion?
Look, prior to the days of covered stadia, Paul, we had all manner of things happening on the ground, including concerts.
Yep.
And here's a photograph that commemorates the great trio of Luciano and Jose Carreras and Placido Domingo at a wonderful concert.
Yep.
But it just didn't quite have the acoustics that the modern promoter wants.
I really want to get some more information on this one.
Yes,
1908 at a football
This is
match.
a photograph of a footy match, a semi-final footy match between the Bombers and your beloved Magpies in 1908.
Won by the Bombers.
But isn't it, look, there's not a spot that you could find to park yourself.
No.
And almost everyone is a male.
Yeah.
And almost everyone is wearing a hat and with a collar and tie.
Yeah.
Not quite what you'd find today, I suspect.
If you could just park your modesty for a moment, we'll go and have a look at this one over here. Paul, who are all these gentlemen here? I'm familiar with this strapping lad down the back.
Looking pretty casual, looks as though there should be daisies around the shoes there somewhere. This is Melbourne Cricket Club's team of the century, and I was lucky enough to gain a berth in the side with Warwick Armstrong captaining the side, and Dean Jones and Vernon Ransford, who was a previous secretary of the club, Maxie Walker, and there they are. I mean, it's
fantastic.
A nice little painting to have,
And you must watch it with some sort of pride while you're eating lunch occasionally.
Well, I do make sure I guide everyone past this painting, and point it out.
Yeah, so you should.
This fabulous pair of binoculars that were seized from a Japanese cruiser in the Second World War and presented to the club.
As a war prize, it seems.
Yes, the then secretary, Ian Johnson, who was a war veteran himself, used to use these to monitor the crowd behaviour before the old closed-circuit television. But more importantly, I think, whenever the then Prime Minister, Sir Robert Menzies, used to visit the ground, and I think he quite liked cricket, from what I'm led to believe. It's amazing how British Commonwealth Prime Ministers managed to find themselves in London around Ashes Test time every time. Whenever he came to the ground, there was a little place in the old committee room here where these were installed, and he would sit there and view the cricket through these rather handsome-looking binoculars.
And of course, the reason this is absolutely such a special place is because of the view you get when you're actually watching the sport.
Yes, the view is pretty good, Paul. I mean, it's a wonderful place to be, and some famous names have been through this room that have been entertained by the club. But then when the action is on, you step outside the room and sit in seats there that have an absolutely prime view of the action. In Test match cricket, it's almost guaranteed that the wicket will line up with the committee room here.
Yep.
And then, of course, during the footy, you're on the wing where you can see both ends of the ground. You're up high enough to see both sides of the ground, but not so far back that the players look like ants. So it is a very, very good position.
It's a nice place to finish our tour talking about the action on the ground, because the people will be able to visit here this weekend and even have a bit of a run around out there.
They will, and I really encourage them strongly to come here on the open day on Sunday from 10 till 4 and just see what the ground is, see what this fantastic, iconic stadium is. It's an absolute jewel for the people of Victoria, and we want them to come and look at their ground.
Terrific. All right, I bet you thousands of people will turn up.
I hope so.
Thanks very much, Paul.